Hello and welcome to another episode of the Three Frosted Mugs, a FIAD Entertainment Group production. I'm Rodney, and here with me today, as always, is Chad.
Steven.
Hello, Chad. We are missing Conway again this week, but we do hope to have him back very soon. And our producer Matt is here.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Matt? What's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot.
I'm going to get you to say a lot more on each show as we progress.
All right, got it. I think I'm over my limit right now.
I think you are. Okay, that's enough. You can't talk anymore for the rest of the episode.
That's 2 weeks worth.
And I did say this was another episode, but this is much more than just another episode. And for those listening on the podcast, I did quotation marks over another. It's our 10th episode. So celebrate that how you will. Hopefully you just started screaming in the middle of your office space or swerved just a little bit from excitement while you were driving and listening.
Honey, they're on number 10.
Didn't think it. But yeah, we're here at number 10, so let's get right into it. We have some big surprises from the NFL Week 4. Some big surprises as recent as last night. Let's talk about last night real quick because, well, you didn't see last night. You were asleep.
But I did call it. I saw it before it happened.
You did. It was a premonition you had.
Yeah, I didn't see it like exactly how it happened as far as to the extent of how bad the Patriots got beat. But I did, on our last show, I did say the Chiefs were going to beat the Patriots. Maybe the Patriots, again, like we talked about last show, maybe they've kind of run their course. It was a Monday night game. It was kind of, maybe they wanted to kind of ruffle. I thought, most people thought that they would come out and want to ruffle their feathers and say, hey, everybody's talking bad about us. We're going to prove we're still the Patriots. Well, instead, the Chiefs did that. The Chiefs said, hey, we're 1-2. We're the team that's going to climb to get to 2-2 and look better than you guys.
Well, and I know because you had to wake up early, but you did catch a tail end of it at 12:30.
Yeah, I think as it was just going off.
Well, a lot during the game, John Gruden was talking a lot about all these formations that Andy Reid was playing and normally not doing that, not normally throwing a lot of these formations out there. And then they was discussing the mix between the spread along with using multiple tight ends, which is interesting to me because I know over the past few years, tight ends have become more of a favorite in the reception game. I mean, you see tight ends like Jimmy Graham, you see tight ends like Julius Thomas coming out. Now even younger ones like Larry Donnell, however you want to say it. Kelsey, he had a big night, which he mentioned on our Fantasy Focus episode last week, and we went over this week. So make sure you watch this week's Fantasy Focus episode.
Yeah, he had a good game. He's been, like I said, he had been progressing each week. Well, actually, he's been kind of steady. He had about probably 12, talking about fantasy points, about 12 points each week. But, he actually broke out this game, and it was on, a national stage game.
Mm-hmm.
So now people are like, okay, this Travis Kelsey guy's pretty good. But apparently, Andy Reid's not a dummy. He's not just going to let the ship go down. He runs a lot of formations. He's got two guys. He's got a guy that's coming up in Nile Davis, and a guy that's already been there who's still doing it in Jamal Charles.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more receiver. I'm worried about maybe their receiving core may not be 100% great, but you got a good tight end, two great backs. Not going to say Nile Davis is great, but really good.
He can get there, though.
And
you can see it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a coach like Andy Reid, don't discount the Chiefs yet. Again, we're 4 games in. You can't tell a whole lot. You can kind of see where things are shaping up. But the way it's going right now in the league, there's a lot of 2-2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
The 1-3 teams have a lot of work to do. The 3-1 teams need to stay there because it can turn around for the worst just as they got there. So, within the next few weeks, you're really going to start to see things kind of rounding into form, kind of shaping up as far as what teams are maybe bad teams are going to get better, what bad teams are going to stay bad, maybe regress to be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to see if some teams that are, your good teams, like there's only 2 4-0 teams and your 3-1 teams, if they're going to, kind of fall off a little bit or if they're going to keep playing well.
Well, excuse me. The only other thing I wanted to say was, about the wide receiving core. I think I mentioned that in the last show we did as far as the Kansas City Chiefs. Who's there, right? Dwayne Bowe stepped up. Dwayne Bowe had some good receptions, made some good plays, crucial first down catches. So that was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, they need him too. I mean, like I said, he's their big play guy.
Yeah.
They've got to have him you got to have a good receiver. He's a big body. He's a good receiver. So they need to have him play well. And, you've got to have a good receiver. They obviously have the good backs that we talked about.
And that's where the question comes as far as the Patriots, because we've seen Brady use what he has available and be successful. Is it just they've ran out their mental abilities? Is that what it is? I mean, can Brady not thread the needle anymore?
No. I mean, a lot of teams. I mean, I don't know if they automatically think. Of course, it'd be hard to think this with a Bill Belichick team, but I don't know if they've gotten to that point where they're just like, all right, well, we're the Patriots. We're just going to go out and do it without having to remember what work it took to get there and what work it took to stay there. So that being said, it's hard to believe that that's the case. They obviously didn't seem to be that prepared. I mean, they barely beat an awful Oakland team last week. They got crushed by a pretty decent Kansas City Chiefs, game on a national televised game. It's hard to tell what's going on there. I mean, Tom Brady's, one of the best to ever do it, but he's just not looking good right now.
You know who comes into town this coming week, right?
Who's that?
I believe it's the Bengals. I believe they face the Bengals in New England.
Oh yeah, and the Bengals are one of the undefeated teams in the league. One of the two undefeated teams.
They're a solid team. They could easily lose next week.
Yeah, things are. I mean, it's not a favorable matchup for them coming off a 41-14 drumming.
Good Lord.
So and with the Bengals coming off a bye week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well rested, ready to go.
Yeah, it's not looking good for New England if they lose that game. But again, the thing is, they're still tied for the division lead with Miami and Buffalo.
Right. So they're still.
So it's not like it's not like they're not in. To me, they're still in control of that division.
Yeah.
Miami looks good. Miami looks better. All this talk about Tannehill not going to be the starter. Tannehill's going to be the starter. They're not putting in Matt Moore. Matt Moore's not the starter.
They're not the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, which is terrible. And the Buffalo Bills, now that you're tied for the division lead. EJ Manuel didn't have a great game, but it was a tough defensive game. You're going to have one. Now you're going to put in Kyle Orton.
Yeah.
That's what the dumbest move I've heard in a long time.
EJ Manuel's touchdown to interception ratio is still positive. It's not in the negative at all.
Yeah, and they're a running team. So I don't get that move. Doug Marrone, I hope he went over this when the GM was involved with this.
Yeah.
If not, he needs to lose his daggone job because EJ Manuel's still a young quarterback. That team's going to win games running the ball. They got, Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins as receivers. It's a young team. Let them grow together.
Yeah.
What good is he going to do putting Kyle Orton in there?
Maybe this is the long con. Who knows?
It's a terrible move. Doug Marrone, whoever's responsible for making this move, it is a horrible move. And C.J. Spiller, he's fairly young. So you got a young team. Let them grow together. This makes absolutely no sense. It's horrible.
I have heard living in Buffalo will age you pretty quickly, though. All right.
So they got great wings, too.
Let's move into Cowboys. They just pretty much dominated the Saints. Saints could never get anything going.
Yeah, it was, from the start, it was a drumming. Dallas came out. They ran the ball right at them. They came out. They got embarrassed last year at the Saints. I believe it was either a Sunday or Monday night game. Saints set a record for 40, first downs. They just ran wild over Dallas. Looking on the Dallas website, Rob Marinelli had been challenging his guys on defense all week, saying, hey, so you remember what these guys did to you last year. Somebody step up. I want you guys to hit hard. Their defense played phenomenal. Again, the Saints aren't looking – I picked the Saints to go to the Super Bowl. At 1-3, it doesn't look that great, but again, the season's not lost. But what Dallas did there, that proves that this team's got a lot of heart. They came back after getting drummed last year by this team. They came out, and Dallas is sticking with running the ball. It's scary because what that does, too, is the defense is not playing bad, but that's also when you run the ball, and Dallas in the past few years have not been picking up the 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2s. Now that they're picking up those and running it, eating up some clock, letting that defense rest up a little bit, I'm impressed as far as what they're doing. I'm actually shocked that they're still running the ball like they are. Now, they've always been DeMarco Murray averaged about 5 yards a carry last year.
But they never stuck with it.
But they just didn't run the ball.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really surprised, and I'm very surprised that they're sticking with the run.
Who do you think you have to thank for that. I mean, who is the one who makes that call? Because Jason Garrett at this point, does he have that sort of control over the play calling? Even, I mean, he's not even the one making the play calls, is he?
No, well, Scott Linehan is their passing game coordinator,
right?
So I don't know if he's the one that's making the whole calls or if it's Bill Callahan.
Mm-hmm.
I guess those two guys. I'm going to say those two guys kind of put together a game plan. I would probably say again, Callahan's the coordinator, but I think Linehan's probably calling the plays.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is strange too, because Linehan come from Detroit and they were pass happy under
Right.
him. Obviously, Matt Stafford with his attempts last year under Linehan was ridiculous.
Sure.
But I would have to say probably Linehan. But I'm just glad the play calling's away from Jason Garrett. I mean, 'cause, all he wanted to do, he was just pass happy. And before, when we tried to run play action, if the defense knows you're not running the ball, play action means nothing.
Yeah.
Now, since we're running the ball so good, I think Tony Romo this year is like 15 of 15 on play action attempts or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. It's going to take a lot of heat off Romo. They're playing well. I don't want to get too far ahead.
Yeah.
I know nobody likes to hear me talking about Dallas, but they're playing good ball right now. Time for the division lead with Philly.
Well, the interesting thing you find is, I mean, and this was a big focus with the Seahawks last year and still is, you got to establish that run. Even as much of a passing league as this is, and people say it all the time, it's passing league, you got to establish a strong running foundation, because what if you can't get your passing game going? You pick up 4 to 5 yards each run, hey man, that'll get you a first down every time.
Yep.
So,
and you play. I mean, if you're not able to run the ball, then you're playing behind you down in distance. It means you're playing the big. You're in the 2nd and 10s, or if you 2nd and 9, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8s, and you're just playing behind the sticks at that point.
Well, let's after an awful beating the week before, Tampa Bay rolls in and wins against Pittsburgh.
And they covered against the number. Did have them too. Yeah, they did. I mean, Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, his job is not looking real good right now. You lose a game like that you need to win, that's not saying a lot about your football team, about your coaching, about your preparation. That being said, give Tampa Bay all the credit in the world. They could have packed it in after getting beat 56 to whatever it was, 14.
Mm-hmm.
They could have packed it in and said, all right, well, let's try something else. But no, they came out, they fought hard. They played till the end. Give Glennon all the credit in the world. The kid come out and he led them down to that drive, the game-winning touchdown drive. So you got to give Tampa Bay, Lovie Smith, all those guys, all the credit in the world. They didn't give up. They fought hard, and they got a huge win for them. Whether it boosts them to kind of want to try to make something this season, or if they come back this week. Of course, unfortunately for them, they go into the Saints. So it's a tough situation, being the situation that the Saints are in. But for this past week, give Tampa Bay all the credit in the world.
I'll be honest with you. If they weren't going into New Orleans, I would be very weary to pick the Saints to win that game, just because of their terrible record on the road. It's awful. And you think back, and my assumption is it because they're a dome team. They play in a dome. They do well in the dome. But really, I think it may just be the whole audio part, like not being able to hear one another.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't implemented some sort of hand signals or Chip Kelly's, cool signs on the sideline, something to get that into gear, because it's obviously not working. But
something's going on there, and they just play a lot better at home. I mean, they're virtually unbeatable at home, but on the road they're less than 500 ball club.
I mean, it's just. Okay.
How about the
disappointing.
Eagles? You want to talk about?
Let's talk about the Eagles.
NFC East
For the first time this season, they have a pretty big lead on a team
without doing anything on offense.
Not a thing on offense. They scored three touchdowns between special teams and defense.
Yeah, they when you saw them come out to that start, of course, I picked them against the number. I took the 4.5 and said I would lose like the whole public, which is exactly what happened. But when you do something like that, and it just shows you the least amount of confidence, how little their confidence is in the running game. When they had a chance to take the lead late, it was like 3rd and goal from the 2 or like 1.5 yard line, and you don't run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they haven't been doing anything on the on the ground all game, but I don't like the play call, and I think you at least on that third down is you got to either get the ball in the flat to McCoy or get it in his hands. Excuse me. You have to figure he is going to be able to pick up those 2 yards.
I'm sorry. The cough was just so well timed. It just seemed like it was well timed. Yeah.
No pun intended. But no, they. I don't like that. Of course, I'm a big run the ball guy.
Right.
Obviously, that's what I preach on here every week.
Huge run the ball. You have T-shirts. Run the ball.
Yeah, run the damn ball. I think I'm gonna start getting AJ Studios to make up some.
Actually, that's a great idea. Let's get on that.
Run the damn ball.
Let's get ahead of that.
Well, people listen now. They're gonna steal our damn idea.
Damn.
Yeah, a little surprise there, but big win for the Niners. They needed that as well. So it was a good football game.
Well, I bet you were pretty happy because what that did was made it pretty darn close for your Cowboys and the Eagles in their division.
Yeah, it helped everybody out. I mean, Washington, their season by no means is over.
Yeah.
It looks tough because the Washington they have a Monday night game against Seattle and they go on the road to Arizona, so it looks tough. But by no means is Washington's season over. They still have a lot of football left to play. They're only 2 games out of the division lead. But what Washington needs to do is, like I was preaching, what the Giants started doing is run the ball, run the ball, take a little pressure off Cousins, especially this week, against Seattle. They're going to have to do something to ease those guys up off of them. But that's what Washington needs to do this week.
Well, I want to ask you something because one of my biggest takeaways from this weekend, actually from this whole season thus far, has been that the whole league is tumultuous as far as who's going to win and who's going to lose. I mean, it is really hard to tell who's going to pull out a victory in these games. I would have never thought the Falcons were going to go to Minnesota and lose that badly. I mean, they're just up and down. Tampa Bay beating Pittsburgh. Everything we just talked about. It's a perfect example of why this league is so up and down.
8, 9, 10. There is 11, 12, 13 teams right now that are 2-2.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
I'd like to see a stat. I mean, to see if that's something that's odd or see if that's about average. But it just seems like there's, outside of your Oakland Raiders, there's a lot of teams that still, Jacksonville's pretty bad. The Jets aren't looking promising, but it seems like aside from, less than a handful of teams, anybody can have, anybody can make the playoffs.
Well, look at Tampa Bay. They're going in to face the Saints, right? They have the same record right now.
Exactly.
They have the same exact record.
Tampa Bay could come out of that 2-3, and New Orleans could come out of that 1-4.
I hope that does not happen.
And I mean, so you got when you look at when you think about it that way. I mean, look at the NFC North. The Detroit's leading at 3-1, and then Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago are all tied up at 2-2. Even the NFC South, Tampa Bay and New Orleans are 1-3, and Atlanta and Carolina are only 2-2. I mean, you got to think about it. Everybody's talking about how bad New Orleans playing. Yeah, they're not looking good now, but they're basically a game out of the division lead.
Yeah. Hey, do the NFC East again real quick.
NFC East is 3-1, Dallas and Philly. Giants are 2-2, and Washington's 1-3. So Washington's only 2 games out of the lead.
All right, and it's not looking very promising for the upcoming 2 weeks because they play Seattle and then they play your Arizona Cardinals. So it is potential we could be 1-5 after those 2 weeks. But I just would like all of the Washington fans to take note that it is still very early in this season.
Yes, and what would be huge? I mean, more than anything, if Washington can somehow scrape out a win on Monday night against Seattle, you're talking about just a complete turnaround from – you're going to talk about the other end of the spectrum than what happened on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could go from season being done, washed, to, all of a sudden there's a bright light. Look what we just did. Now all of a sudden we're 2-3, and depending on what Dallas and Philly does is, you're right there in the division. You just beat Seattle. So this game right here is very, very important for Washington.
Definitely is. All right, well – Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with segment 2 in a little bit, and we will get into some big stories in the NFL because some big things did happen, and love to touch base on some Nats.
We got some big hockey news at the end of the show.
Oh, man, I can't even wait. Fire and ice. And we are back for segment 2 of the 3 Frosted Mugs. Thank you for sticking with us. Last segment, we went into the past NFL week and got carried away with all of the crazy things that occurred. So this segment, we're going to go into something that Chad is a little more knowledgeable about than I am as far as sports are concerned. We're going to go into some college football.
Back to school with Chad.
Back to school with Chad. We got to get a song for that or something, like a little sound or something. We have so many notes.
Back to school. Who starred in that?
Oh, Rodney Dangerfield.
Exactly.
It's a great movie. And Robert Downey Jr.'s in that movie, too.
RDJ.
I don't even remember who played the main son, to be honest.
Who cares?
And the best line ever was, what major are you? Oh, I'm a poetry major or an English major. Oh, you want to stay later and help me straighten out my Longfellow?
Gotta love Rodney Dangerfield.
What a great movie. Great movie.
Yeah, we'll talk briefly about the. I'm just gonna go into kind of the top 10, just kind of seeing what everybody did this week. You know,
and what week are we in right now for college football?
5.
Week 5.
So what we're gonna do is I briefly talk about a few teams. We'll talk a little bit more once we kind of get into a few more weeks. Still got a lot of good football games left to play. A lot of good SEC battles coming up. So we're going to talk about Florida State first. Florida State played NC State. NC State was 4-0. They hung with them basically for 3 quarters. Florida State turned it on at the end, rallied, behind Jameson Winston. They ended up winning 56-41. I still don't think that they're number 1 team. The USA Today polls got them second. I think the coaches poll, I'm not sure what they are, but they're number 1 in the AP poll.
Week 8, 9, we're going to have to sit down and go, because I remember in episode 1, I think we went over your picks for college, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we went over our picks.
Yeah, we'll have to sit back and rewatch that so we can just see where you are at that point.
Yeah, I think, I know Wisconsin lost. That's one of the teams I had. Wisconsin's 3-1, not out of it if they can win the Big Ten. I did have Alabama, who's number 1 in the USA Today poll.
Was Oklahoma one too that you had?
I had Oklahoma. Oklahoma's still stroking on along. Then I had Georgia. Georgia's 3-1. So not all my teams are completely out of it. I think Conway had some good picks that I don't remember. I know he had Baylor, Oklahoma, Alabama, I think. Maybe one other team. All those flashy high caliber offenses, Conway.
He just grabbed a college paper and
he loves offense. I wanted the defensive boring shit, and he wanted all the high flying Bryce Petty's.
Run the ball and play the D.
I know, I'm such a homer. But yeah, Florida State, they hung on. Still not looking very impressive. Auburn did their thing against Louisiana Tech. Texas A&M, they were in a battle. Arkansas is a good football team. They were in a battle. They came back in overtime. Got a touchdown late. So my receiver I happen to have in one of my 1-week fantasy leagues.
And who would that be?
Oh, I don't remember the guy's name.
You don't remember the guy's name.
I was happy.
Is that is that the way it is in a lot of the college fantasy? Like, is it even more stretching to find somebody than even in a 12-man
Not so much
NFL?
stretching, but a lot of these teams that score a lot of points, they have so many wide receivers. So when they're running 5 wides, and 4 wide, there's so many guys that they can go to. So you're like, and you don't know the numbers as much as as well as you do in NFL. So you're
right.
like, what? You're looking on your phone. What number is this guy? So it's kind of like it's a little different. But Baylor did their thing. Baylor won. They beat up on Iowa State pretty good. Notre Dame's still looking tough. Notre Dame's got a big game this week. They play Stanford. Big rivalry. Both teams are really good.
How's my boy Rudy doing?
Rudy's doing well. Had 2 block kicks.
Nice.
That's
awesome.
But they're looking good. They play Stanford this week. Michigan State, Drum, Wyoming. Michigan State's rolling on along. They're 3-1, but again, the Big Ten, they're just boring football. But Michigan State seems to have the best of it
quick
right
question:
now.
who does Shane Morris play quarterback for?
That's the guy from Michigan.
Okay, so
Brady Hoke's done in Michigan. They probably won't fire him mid-season.
That's the AD, right?
That's the head coach.
Oh, that's the head coach. Okay.
Yeah, he's done such a terrible job there. He's done after this year. Again, they probably won't fire him mid-season, but he's definitely finished.
Well, the story. They played him with concussion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That stuff worked in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Not anymore.
Did they just knowingly? Did they know or?
Michigan's so terrible. When I hear a story, when it starts with Michigan, I just, this year I'm just like, you know what? I don't care. It's, I care about the kid. I'm not saying that. But Michigan stories, it's just like, whatever.
Just poor handling in general.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Just sparking stories.
But yeah, right now, what's in the AP poll? Florida State or Oregon's got a big matchup. Oregon plays Arizona this week. but Arizona's undefeated, but it's kind of not a good undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't really played anybody. Their wins have all been kind of, I guess you can say, very marginal wins too. So they're definitely going to get a test going into Eugene. Let's see what else we got. Florida State, they're going to drum Wake Forest this week. Now, there's a big matchup. 2 4-0 teams in the SEC is Alabama going into Ole Miss. Ole Miss is looking real tough. We're going to see what happens. Bo Wallace, I think Bo Wallace is the quarterback for Ole Miss.
That's going to be a hell of a game.
Something. It might not be Wallace.
You know what? I'll look it up for you while you're doing that.
Quarterback of Ole Miss.
There's so many names, so many numbers to remember.
But that's going to be one of the games that I'm going to look out for. Actually, I'm looking, and there's going to be a lot of good games. Let me run down this slate. At 3:30, you got TCU, which is a real good football team, in Oklahoma. Going to be a great football game. You got LSU playing Alabama. That's got to be a great game. Then Mississippi State, Texas A&M. I mean, you got Notre Dame, Stanford. I mean, the slate this week, Nebraska, Michigan State. I mean, this is the week. If you're a college football fan, you need to just lay on your couch from about noon all the way until about 9 o'clock and just drink cold beer out of a frosted mug. Right, Matt?
That you can win
all day.
All day, son. I mean, this is the week to do it. I mean, there's a lot of great games on, and, get up, cut the grass early, get your wife's honey-do list done.
Bo Wallace, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's the slate. Like I said, big Saturday. It's going to be a telltale Saturday with all these teams playing. So, yeah, get on the couch, don't do shit, but watch football.
Nice. All right. Okay. Well, that was Back to School with Chad.
Back to school.
And then cool music that we're going to find later. Or a Rodney Dangerfield quote from the movie. That'd
How about
be good
my
too.
new favorite song that I used to hate, Drunk on a Plane? It has nothing to do with that at all. But
I listened to that song just now, and I don't think I like it. So maybe I need to go hear it at a concert.
yeah, I
Maybe
went
that's
to the
what
concert. Love it. Thought it was Billy Currington. Turns out.
Look, to me, sometimes country is like lazy rap. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. It is.
I don't even
sometimes.
know what lazy rap is.
That's like very slow and
Sipping on scissor.
easy rhymes.
Got you.
Without,
The opposite of what's the Bone Thugs and Harmony?
I don't know,
Smoking anything.
fast they go.
Yeah, that's the opposite of that.
Yeah,
right?
that's hard working rap.
Gotcha.
All right, well, we went off on a little
Hard-working
tangent there. Okay, some big stories that are going on through sports right now. Everyone knows about my premonition of the Oakland Raiders, and I will still pick them to win every week, by the way, because I'm convinced this might be the turning point right now. So, as you know, they went across the pond and played Miami, and it was just a complete debacle.
Drumming.
I mean,
I had Miami. And
to top it off, Derek Carr is out with a foot injury, an ankle injury, I believe, high ankle sprain. So that means they have to go to Matt McGloin. Where is Matt Schaub, by the way? What is he doing? Is he like, what injury did he sustain? Or did he just go, you know what, I'm not going to play? What happened?
I think they realized that he's doo-doo, so why not try your young guys out? Now, I like Matt McGloin. Again, it must be a Penn State thing with me. I mean, I love Penn State. But Matt McGloin, when he was in there, I'm going to have to check see if I can find any stats on McGloin.
Well, you find those stats. Go ahead.
But I like Matt McGloin. And you give him a chance. He's young. The Raiders suck. They're 0-4.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why they got Schaub anyway. I mean, he's...
Well, a lot of people felt they were trying to build a team to win now. I mean, quite honestly, like
if
they
you
got
look
a bunch
at
of
their payroll,
veterans.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, they got a bunch of veterans. They have Charles Woodson. They've got Charles Woodson. They've got let's see, they picked up James Jones from Green Bay.
Yeah, which has done well.
MJD. Darren. Well, they had McFadden before. Let's see, who else did they pick? Tuck. They picked up Justin Tuck.
Yeah.
I mean, so they were picking up players, a little seasoned, been to successful games, So it's just not working out. All right, but the big story is after combined win-loss ratio of 8-28, Dennis Allen was fired over the phone.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't understand the whole over the phone thing. That's kind of unprofessional and kind of terrible.
It is a little bit.
So
I wonder if they called him while he was in England and said, "Hey, just stay over there." That's how they talk in Oakland, I guess.
I wish the owner had done it, or the GM, whoever fired him, had done it in like an English accent.
Oh, top of the morning to you.
Take your crumpets and shove them up your tail.
Dennis Allen answered the phone. It's 4 a.m. here. Well, it's 8 a.m. here, sir, and you need to start finding a job. So now you've got 4 hours headway to get started.
Yeah, get your ass packed up. So in his career, He's 130 for 230, so he's 56 completion percentage, 1,600 yards. He's got 9 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Again, he's young. 74 quarter.
Oh, Matt McGloin.
Yep.
Okay, I thought we were talking about. Is he a player coach?
Maybe they'll bring him in. But it's his second season, so give the guy a shot. I mean, he came in. He was 12 of 19 with a touchdown. He did throw 2 pickles. But again, we talked about Cousins earlier. Young guys are going to throw interceptions. I mean, you think when Peyton Manning came in and threw a bunch of picks, if they had just said, "Well, you suck, Peyton,"
yeah.
I mean, do you think he would? I mean, no, you're not going to pull the plug on him. I mean, just because you got to give young guys a shot. I mean, that's what makes me kind of mad about the whole EJ Manuel thing. It's just especially with a young team, it's just plain stupid.
It just doesn't. That doesn't make sense at all. Doesn't make sense. Well, with that being said, I do think that this is going to be a turnaround for the Raiders. This
you
may
will not
be
let go of that.
I'm never
At what point
are
you going to let go of that?
You know what? I'm going to become a diehard Raider fan. That's going to be my second team.
Golly day. I think it's time to give up on that.
So I'm just reading here. Greg Olson and Tony Soprano are prime candidates for that job,
Soprano.
by the way.
He was in a show?
Sparano, not
Oh,
Soprano. Did I say Soprano? Because I could have said Soprano.
Just being not funny.
I bet he'd be a great coach if he were.
I'm trying to find. You know what? I'm terrible at this whole Googling thing. It's the easiest thing.
I'm not a Googler.
It's the easiest thing to do on the internet is Google something. I'm trying to find Peyton Manning's rookie season stats.
Oh, he's the number one example that keeps being brought up for Kirk Cousins.
I'm gonna find it. You know what? I'm just gonna play it, and I guess I'm gonna have to get simple and just type Peyton Manning.
It's stats.
Rookie season. I can't spell season. Stats.
Just so you know that if you're ever Googling anything, that's the way to do it. Just keep it simple. Write exactly what you're looking for. Am I right, Matt?
So here we go.
True.
Giving you some bonus talk. Bonus conversation.
You're now in the bonus corner with Matt. So he played 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
He had a 56 completion percentage. Not great.
Mm-hmm.
He had...
Still better than Eli most times.
3,700 yards.
Okay.
Pretty good. He had 26 touchdowns, 28 interceptions.
26 touchdowns is about a good quarterback's average for the season, right?
Yeah. And 28.
decent.
So he had a ton of interceptions. So he had almost 2 interceptions a game average because there's 16 games. So
well, when you throw the ball more, you risk throwing more interceptions.
of course, then he went 26, 26, 33, 26, 27, 29, 49. God.
What was that you were just reading?
I'm
Touchdowns?
just reading this touchdown. Let me stop looking at Peyton. You want to just do a show?
Stop.
You know what we're going to do?
Drooling.
We're going to do when Conway gets back, just so it can piss him off. We're going to do a show just about Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods.
Okay.
Because those are my 2 favorites.
Well, you know what I would think?
He likes those guys.
If you were friends with the Manning brothers when you were growing up, you would be that friend of Peyton's that was like, why does Eli always come around here? Man, I hate your brother.
Definitely.
Don't say that, man. He's my brother.
I thought it was just us hanging out.
Man, you're so much better of a quarterback and a person.
Then I'd say the same stuff to Eli. I'd be like, man, what's Peyton always talking about? Don't tell him I said that.
Oh, there comes their dad. Is that boy Chad coming back over? That's my father Manning voice.
Well, if I was young doing that, then I'd probably be over there in the refrigerator.
Well, you'd definitely be hanging out with him, no doubt. No doubt. You'd still be their friend.
I'd be hanging out with Archie, man, watching old tape with Archie.
I can't think of any better time spent. All right, hey, so while we got some time in this second segment here, again, bringing up a huge event that's going on in the D.C. area. This is massive. The Nats. The Nationals.
Are the Nats playing? What's going on with the Nats? What are they doing?
They're doing some
wait a minute.
postseason baseball. Now, we don't know exactly who we're going to be playing yet, and that will decide what time we play on Friday. But let's see. It's down between the Giants and
the Pirates.
The Pirates, right? Giants, Pirates?
They play. Yeah. They play on Wednesday. They play tomorrow to decide who plays us, and then we play Friday. And I can't remember the times, but if the Giants win, we play at 3. If the Pirates win,
noon.
We play at noon.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything as far as if we've put together our the roster, our pitching roster, or anything. So I'm kind of anxious to see what Matt Williams is going to do there. And what a great way to end the season.
Hey, and I'm pretty sure that's the first time in Nats history, right?
I'm willing to. I want to say if anybody's ever ended the season, a playoff team has ended the season with a no-hitter.
You know what? That would be an interesting stat in itself.
That'd be a nice stat. If we had
correct.
a guy that wore a red shirt that could look up a stat like that, that would be awesome.
Hey, We just happen to have one
Where?
right in front of us.
Matthew.
You at home can't see it.
Has any playoff team
Don't
ever
you dare.
ended the season with a no-hitter?
That would be a great stat
You
to
know
know.
what I would do there? What you should do? This new
Now-
thing called Google.
Has any playoff team
Ended the season with a no-hitter.
Now, he did have a chance for a perfect game up until about the top of the fifth, and I believe there was an error, and man got on base. But, man, it's – and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I had to sit down and rewatch some of the highlights because I only caught pieces of the game to begin with. Sunday was quite a big regenerating day for me.
Tied one on Saturday.
It was quite a weekend. Had a little surprise party just for my mom. It's her 50th birthday. So I'm just gonna say,
Clark.
I'm gonna say before her birthday, happy birthday, and then I'll say it again after. I'm gonna hit that bird with two stones.
Yeah, you got to get it to her.
I'm just gonna get them both there. So,
But either way, I mean, the guy's looking real good. Everybody's playing well.
I'm sorry, but what I was gonna say
What were you going to say? Yeah, go ahead. Then we start talking about
it's a
Becky
team
Clark.
effort. It's a team
BCJ.
effort.
BCJ.
No, the 100% a no hitter team effort. I mean, the number of times. And not just the last catch from Souza Jr. Not just that, which was incredible, by the way. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at the highlights yet, please do. It's fantastic. It gives you goosebumps. I got goosebumps watching it because you can just see the dedication that team has. I mean, he threw his body in a way I can't even explain.
That they're a team.
They are, and I am just very proud to be in this area and get to watch all this happen. And man, just if they can go and take it all the way, I can't even tell you. Can't even tell you.
Or you could have what would be even greater if it was the Nationals and the Orioles.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
So that'd be great. So we'll again, we're doing the show earlier in the week, so we haven't seen the schedule coming out as far as not the schedule, but the playoff roster.
Mm-hmm.
What's set up for Matt Williams. So we'll be able to to dive a little deeper into it. Once we get on our show next week. Denard Spam was the only guy, with over a certain number of games. Denard Spam ended with the best average, batting .302. So he had a really good year. Let's see who home run leader I think was
Has to be was it LaRoche?
Yeah, LaRoche with 26. Desmond had 24. LaRoche had 92 RBIs. Ian Desmond, what a good year. 24 home runs. 24 ding dogs, 91 runs batted in. 151 hits. Let's see. Rendon had 176 hits. Rendon had a great year. This kid he's a stud. Batted .287.
It's all
17
solid
stolen
team.
bases, 104 strikeouts, 58 walks.
You know what it is? It's like they look just as good on paper, and they're performing even better than what they look like on paper. And I wish that the Redskins could just take a little page out of that book because they're stacked. They were stacked. They've been riddled with a few injuries now, but nonetheless, stacked team. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up. The math doesn't make sense.
Well, they got guys stepping in that not your everyday players come in and make plays.
Souza Jr.
Yeah,
Look at him.
That's what you got to do. The little things like that. Everybody, it's the old cliche, next man up. Not everybody buys into it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just say it, but that's it. But it's really next man up. You've got to believe that you're part of that team. So when it's your turn to go up there, if it's 70 games into a season, you ain't played one game, or when you get caught up in there to do your job, do it like you've been the star every one of those games.
That's why I always equate. And you've had more experience in golf, but I equate baseball to golf a lot because it's just as much an individual and muscle memory thing as it is a team sport. And I know we only have a few minutes before we go to break, but I just want to say, I can't imagine the amount of pressure that when you're sitting there and it's a no-hitter through 7 or 8, and you get a pop-up coming towards you.
Oh, man.
And you've got to sit there and stare at that ball to drop to you. I mean, can you imagine the pressure?
I did do of course, we were in a playoff game, and it was a tie ball game. It was like 1-1, 2-2. We were in an all-star league in baseball. It wasn't a no-hitter type thing. I'm playing first base, a little fat kid. And I get just a slow roller coming to me. And it's like, I think he played 7 innings then. It's like the top of the 7th. Slow roller coming right at me. I Bill Bucknered it. Went right between my legs. This was the Retainers. It was the name of our team. Tug Coker, I'm sorry. You were pitching. You were mad. I'm sorry, Tug. But so they end up scoring a run. We came back and won the ball game. So, but yeah, when something like that happens, you're just thinking, oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
And especially, like, if it would have just been a regular hard ground ball, it's easier because you're not thinking about it, you're doing it.
Yeah.
But when that thing just slow rolled right at me, I botched it.
I mean, sometimes you get ahead of yourself in baseball, and it happens. You know what I mean?
That's terrible.
It's okay. It's all right. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a break so Chad can get over this awful childhood memory that just came out. I had no idea we were going that deep today.
Do you know who Bill Buckner is?
Yeah, because he was, it was Boston? Was that who it was?
Okay.
Yeah, he let the ground ball slip between his legs, lost the World Series, I believe, right?
I'm impressed.
Yeah. See, I watch a lot of movies and commercials. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break, so stick with us for our final segment. Thank you. And we are back for our third and final segment of Episode 10. I forgot to bring that up more often. Episode 10. That's a pretty big deal.
You know what else is a big deal is what we watched during the break.
Man, if I could only describe it in words,
we won't describe it in words.
We wouldn't have a show anymore.
But this Nicki Minaj's video, Anaconda. I mean, we're sitting there. We got the big screen in here. We were watching that. I'm still not sure what just happened. And then whoever this, I've never even seen the Iggy.
And Jennifer Lopez, the J-Lo and the Iggy.
Yeah, that whole.
Azalea.
Yeah, Iggy Azalea and that girl.
You mean my wife? That's exactly what that was.
I don't know what just happened in this studio, but
Good
I kind
Lord.
of like it.
Well, let's take our minds off of that and talk about something that everyone at home wants to discuss. Well, most people at home. Let's talk about the upcoming NFL week. This is our Beat the Bookie segment.
Beat the book. We would have last week.
We definitely would have. You had a very successful week last week, picking against the spread. This is where we pick the winners of the upcoming NFL weeks against the spread.
Yep.
So
had a big week. Lost a super thirsty pick, but I think I lost 4 games out of all the games.
Remind me the thirsty pick. Which one was the thirsty
Buffalo.
pick? Buffalo.
If it wasn't for the J.J. Watt touchdown, I would have covered, but
yeah.
Anyway.
And congratulations to J.J. Watt. He's having a hell of a season already. I mean,
J.J., you're listening, man. Congrats. You can come on the show anytime. I know we've kind of big-timed you a little bit. Didn't let you come on. Give us a call.
Yeah, you're on the level now. You can come on.
Sure thing.
All right, well, let's start off with Thursday night's game. Vikings are heading into Green Bay. And if it weren't for the incredible performance against the Falcons, I would say that this is all Green Bay's game. But tell me what you think.
I mean, both these teams are coming off big wins. Vikings beating up on the Packers. Green Bay beating up on Chicago. It's a big line. Started out at 10, dropped down to 9. I mean, the way Minnesota played last week, it's hard to think that they're not going to cover the 9 points. Division game, I usually hate laying 9. Green Bay, I think, found something. Aaron Rodgers looked really good. I think that Green Bay covers this game. I think a lot of people are going to take Minnesota in the 9. I think Green Bay blows them out, and Green Bay covers the 9.
Wow, okay. All right. Well, yeah, I guess big factor would be Teddy Bridgewater, right? He was a big factor in Minnesota's win against the Falcons.
Yep.
And it looks like he wouldn't be playing coming up.
Yeah, he's probable right now. Their backup, Christian Ponder, we've seen what he's about. I'd love to have Samantha Ponder on the show. Not sure if we can get that to happen. We'll try. But I just don't see it. I mean, Minnesota's a huge win for Minnesota. They're a good football team. They're playing well. Green Bay's on a high right now, and I just think that the Green Bay does what they need to do, and they need to keep up with because obviously, we talked about Buffalo's going into Detroit. Detroit's leading that division, so I think Green Bay feels they need this game worse than Minnesota does.
Sure. Okay. All right, and as always, Aaron Rodgers is always going to be a huge deciding factor for a win or a loss. So I'm going with Green Bay as well.
Right,
I think Green Bay is going to cover that.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, let's move into the Ravens. Are heading into Indianapolis. Ravens coming off a big win. Great performance from Joe Flacco, and Torrey Smith had a really nice week. Finally. And hopefully Steve Smith Sr. just keeps the fire in his gut he's got going right now. I don't know where this guy is coming from. He's fueled off of pure anger. He's Nick Cage from the movie Drive Angry.
And he's looking tough. I mean, he's playing with a purpose. I got that game. Colts are 3.5-point favorite at home. Baltimore coming off a big win. That game meant something. Being Steve Smith playing against his old team. The Colts are rolling. They're playing at home. I mean, they're just on a big high right now. Andrew Luck's in a zone. It was 3.5. Looks like it's down. It's 3 points right now. I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to take the chalk. The Colts are laying 3. I like it. I think that a lot of people you know what? This is a tough game. It's hard to tell what the public's going to do here. I don't have any of that info up, but I like the Colts. I see it being a fairly close game. I think the Colts pull away late. I think they do it with a little bit of defense as well. I'm looking for actually think it's going to be like a 27-17 ball game, Colts.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I see that. I see this being a close game. I mean, obviously, so does Vegas as well. I mean, that's why they picked the 3 because it could easily be within a field goal.
Yep.
I'm gonna go along with you though. I mean, it would be stupid, I think, to not go along with you based on last week. So I'm gonna say the Colts. They cover the 3 and beat the Ravens.
Okay, I like it. Real quick, the beer we're having today, really good. It's from Oscar Blues. It's a Pilsner. It's called Mama's Little Yellow Pills. It's real good. If you like, kind of like it's a Pilsner. It's hopped up a little bit, but it's a really good beer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as refreshing, but it's got just a bite to it. It remembers it. Everything that Coors Light and Miller Lite are missing for the most part. That delicious flavor.
Well, it's kind of a little bit like a Budweiser. Even though Budweiser is a great American lager.
Yeah.
A little bit different type of beer.
I would equate it to the bite of a Coca-Cola. A little peppery.
A little peppery.
All right. Bears heading on down to Carolina.
Yep.
You know, in real life, I don't know who I would pick in a fight, a bear or a panther. No clue.
It would be a good fight.
It would be one.
It'd be a really good
Hopefully
fight.
This will be a nice fight. Probably a low-scoring game, would you say?
I think it will. They got the line at 45.5, which typically is a higher scoring game. Carolina's a 3-point favorite at home. Carolina running back situation. I mean, D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart will never be healthy for even 10 games a year, probably.
Yep.
They're going to rely heavy on Greg Olsen, Kelvin Benjamin. Chicago's coming off a tough loss at home. They're kind of up and down right now. But getting 3, I think Chicago comes out. I think they just have more weapons right now than Carolina. Carolina's running game is just not there. I think it's going to be a lot of points in this game. I've got Cam Newton as one of my fantasy top performers this week. I think I was a little torn here, but I think where did I put my pick at? I don't know where I put my pick at, but I think I'm going with the Bears plus 3.
Okay, all right.
I must have. Oh, there it is. Chicago plus 3. I just think, again, like I said, Chicago's got too many weapons for them.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you, and I would love to not sometimes, but I agree with you in this. I mean, if you just – the matchup, it just looks like the Bears have an upside to them, you know, that the Panthers don't right now. I don't know. Cam Newton always comes out like he's got a lot to prove every game.
Yeah. He's a little banged up, too, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, so I'm going to roll with you on this, Bears.
Okay.
As far as the spread.
Ride my hot streak, ride my coattails.
Browns are coming off a bye week, heading into Tennessee, facing a backup quarterback in Whitehurst and a beautiful mullet.
What a sweet mullet.
I mean, best mullet in the NFL. Might be the only mullet in the NFL, to be honest with you.
Got to be. I hope it is. I don't have a line for this game. You got a line?
Well, every line you've been saying has been like different by about half by the hook on mine. So on this one, it says 1.5 Tennessee.
Okay, yeah. So they got it right around the even game. Tennessee 1.5. I think coming off a bye week, I think Cleveland. I think they're going to have a little something together. I think they're not a bad ball club. I know we wanted to say they were the doo-doo team coming out before the season. I don't think they are. I think they've actually are trying to form an identity. I think they're trying to do that with tough defense, a good ground game. Got Brian Hoare as a super sleeper this week in fantasy. I think Tennessee did not play bad on the road against a good Indianapolis Colts team. I just don't think they're going to do enough this week to do it. I think Cleveland comes out. I think Cleveland wins probably a 6-point ball game, probably 26-20. I like Cleveland Browns to win this ball game, getting the 1.5. I'm
rolling with the Browns. I'm down with the dog pound.
You rolling with the dog pound, huh?
I am. And prediction, Johnny Manziel will have the second highest receiving yards.
Talk about a bold prediction.
They have been working on some patterns with Johnny Manziel.
Okay.
All right, let's move into the Rams and Eagles. Man, the Rams team coming in looking pretty beat up. Not much happiness on that team right now.
Yeah, that's it's at home. I mean, Austin Davis is your quarterback for St. Louis. I think they're coming off a bye week. Philly's coming off a bad loss on the road. I think Philly's coming home. I think after scoring 0 points last week, as far as on the offensive side of the ball,
Right.
I think Chip Kelly's going to be all in their ass this week at practice. I think they're going to come out fired up. They're laying 7 here. I think LaShawn McCoy gets the ball. Like I said about Steve Smith last week, different circumstances here, but I think LaShawn McCoy gets the ball early. I think he gets it often. I think he does a lot in the passing game. I look for Philly to blow out the Rams. I like Philly laying the 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna go along with that as well. I think I'd be a moron to go with the Rams at this point. I mean, there's just like literally no support with that. One thing they've got to do is they've got to protect Nick Foles a little bit better. I mean, he's just been taking a beating over the past 2 games. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. You can't last like that, taking hits like that. It's been proven. I mean, you look at football players like Michael Vick and how many hits he's taken over the years, and now they're clamoring for him at
Well, they
New York.
get a lineman, offensive lineman that's been out for 4 games for performance-enhancing drugs. I think it was Lane Johnson, I believe. So hopefully he comes back, gives them a little bit of extra stability there at the offensive line. Sometimes it just takes one guy coming back and just kind of put a little fire in somebody. So let's hope that not for NFC East, team's sake, but
Right.
for at least my picks, let's hope so.
Yeah, that's all I can say about the Eagles.
Well said.
Well, my family from New Jersey, they're Eagle-based fans. You know what I mean? So I have a weird array of NFC East fan base within my family: Cowboys, Redskins, and Eagles. And I think back. My grandfather's not with us anymore, but he would have been really happy with this team. It's kind of a quintessential Philadelphia fans football team. When the type of coach they've got, quarterback they've got, he'd be really happy right now.
Oh,
So anyway,
good.
side note.
Good.
Falcons rolling into New York or New Jersey to face the Giants.
Falcons coming in off a tough loss.
The Giants are coming in on a great win.
Exactly. So you got these 2 teams coming in totally different situations.
Both 2-2.
Yep, Atlanta's getting 4.5. That line started off at 3. It looks like a lot of people were, the public is pounding, or a lot of big money was pounding the Giants. That line's moved up 1.5 points, which is, a big line change. You almost want to. I think again, this is one of those. The 4.5 number was where the Philly San Francisco line was last week. I didn't really want to take the 4.5 on the road with Philly, but I had to. They're going to get me again this week. I'm going to take the Falcons. I think it's going to be a close game. Again, it's an outdoor game at the Giants. I think we're probably going to look at – I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. You're probably going to look at like a 33-30, 30-27 game. I think the Giants do pull this out because I think the Giants are playing well. And what do we really know about the Falcons? I mean, they're up and down. So I'm going to take the Falcons covering. They're getting the 4.5. I like for them to lose the ball game, but cover the 4.5.
Yeah, I could see this being a 27-24 game very easily. The only thing about the Falcons are they like the Saints. And what I mean by that, they're a dome team as well, correct?
Correct.
They don't perform very well in outdoor arenas. And last time I checked, the Giants aren't in a dome either.
In the Meadowlands.
Yeah, so I you know what? Let this be a lesson to future football stadiums. Make some outside environmental factors. Even if you're inside a dome, have a biodome recreation with like winds and rain or something. I don't know.
Great movie.
Get your Biodome's a great movie. Love Biodome. Pauly Shore.
Coming from the land down under.
It's so good. So good. Hey, by the way,
Wafting,
little cameo.
Wafting.
Little cameo by Tenacious D in that movie. I don't know if you know this, but during the the Earth rally that the girls are at before they all go over to the Biodome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's Jack Black and KG playing. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Little nugget for you. All right, let's move into.
What did you take?
Oh yeah, that's right. So with that, I'm gonna say the Giants.
Okay.
I think the Falcons. I don't know. It's just
your first one going against me. I like it.
yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Giants. I don't want to do that considering the beatdown they gave us last week. But hey, we were kind of responsible for that ourselves. To be honest with you,
Can't bet with your heart.
You can't bet with your heart. Sometimes you can't bet with your mind, or anything really.
True.
All right, the Buccaneers rolling into New Orleans after a surprising victory against Pittsburgh, and the Saints needing a win. Tell me what you think.
I don't know what to think about this game. Line is 10.5. It's at New Orleans. I mean,
I don't even know straight up, Chad. To be honest with you, I really don't even know if there was no line, if it was a pick'em game. I have no clue.
Well, I like the Saints. That being said, what Tampa Bay team are we going to get? I mean, it's their second week in a row. Are they going to come, off a big, huge win? Are they just going to be emotionally let down after that? Like, you got to figure when Washington went into Philly, they played a good game. They were emotionally spent, even though they didn't win. There were some good things to take away. They were emotionally spent, come back, and just got beat up pretty good by the Giants. Is that what's going to happen to the Bucs? Then on the other side, what are the Saints going to do? I mean, the Saints are coming off getting manhandled by Dallas on the road, but they're at home. This game, I think Jimmy Graham's going to have a huge game, and Marcus Colts, I think they're going to get it done in the passing game. I hate laying this many points, especially. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to take the Saints. I was going to talk myself out of it. I'm going to take the Saints. I had Tampa Bay written down for the record. I'm taking the Saints. I'm going to lay the 10.5. I think the Saints win this game 34-10.
God, the only thing that bothers me is the Saints don't really have a fantastic running game. And how in God's name do you let Darren Sproles get away? I really don't understand that, but that's a whole other story. So that's what makes me nervous. And Lovie Smith has a defensive background. Drew Brees is one to put you in a position where you could either have a very successful defensive night against him or, just a nightmare, I'm going to go with the Saints because that's my death pool pick'em as well. So I'm hoping they literally beat them by 24 points so I can feel good about that game at halftime.
Yep, that's what I call
That would be great. All right, so let's see. I think this is great. Texans versus the Cowboys.
All right, so we got Dallas at home, laying 4.5. Texans coming off a win at home. Texans been playing real good at home. They're on the road this week. Their offense looks terrible. Their defense looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, their offense looks really good. Their defense looks good. I think Dallas comes out. I mean, this is such a position in the past where a past Dallas team would come out, get beat by 10, 13 points, something like that. I don't see that happening with this team. I think there's a lot of good things going on. Dallas is covered for 3 weeks in a row now. They're going to make it 4. Dallas is going to win this ball game 24-13 and cover.
Wow, okay.
They're going to do it on the ground. I think all the touchdowns. I think Dez Bryant's going to have a multiple touchdown game. I think DeMarco Murray's going to do some good things on the ground. I think they're going to run him a lot. Don't see him getting a whole lot of yardage because Houston's good up front with their front seven, but I see him getting in some good positions, at least 3rd, 5, 3rd, and 4, getting on the right side of the sticks. Again, I like Dallas to cover this game.
Man, see, this is why I hate liking a team and not liking others. I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this. I feel like the upside offensively is too great. Defensively, I think that they've performed very well over the past 2 games, obviously. But still, when you look at that on-paper matchup, Houston has an upside on them with their defense. But what do you call Fitzpatrick? Dink and dunk? Is that what you call him?
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I just don't think he can compare to Tony Romo. And Tony Romo may have a couple picks. I'm going to say that. He may throw a pick or 2 during this game. J.J. Watt could maybe pick up another interception.
I hope not.
But yeah, so I'm going with the Cowboys on this, though.
Okay.
Let's see. Bills heading into the Lions. I think we all know how you feel about this game.
I'm going to make this my super thirsty pick of the week. And I hate doing that with a line this big as a touchdown.
Super thirsty pick.
In the world.
We don't have a button machine, so that's what I'm going to start doing.
Yeah, so Detroit at home against Buffalo. Buffalo's going to have Kyle Orton in his quarterback.
All I know is you put a line up against a Buffalo, a Lion's going to win every time.
Yeah,
every time.
It has to.
Except in The Lion King, because Mufasa, I think, is murdered by a wild pack of buffalo.
That was bullcrap. Don't bring that up. I'll cry. I'm gonna say Detroit's defense is just way too much. They're one of the top defenses in the league. Kyle Orton, I mean, he was down. He's one of the highest paid backups in the league, but he's just that, a backup. So that being said, he's going to come in. They're going to try to run the ball a lot. They can't try to lean on Kyle Orton. Detroit knows that. Detroit's going to kill him in every facet of the game. Matt Stafford's going to have a huge game. I mean, this could be like a 34, maybe some guard, 34-17 type game. I think Detroit wins. They definitely cover the 7. Super thirsty pick of the week.
All right, I'm going to go along with you on that. I'm going to say Lions win, and I'm also going to make a Dr. Seuss pun. It's a new book called Orton Here's a Sue. Come on, I mean, that was too good, right?
That was a good
That
one.
was too good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going with the Lions on this one. Yes.
Don't say you're going to make the pun and then make the pun. That just makes it terrible.
Oh, man, well, I just wanted everyone's
do that, can
attention.
Just make the pun.
All right, let me recreate that moment.
There's rules to the pun.
There are rules
You
to the
make
pun.
a pun, there's rules.
Okay, let me recreate that pun real quick. This game is featured in my new book called Orton Here's a Sue.
That was so good.
Did you like that? That's way better.
It's better.
Now, see, you're not allowed to talk for at least the next 15 episodes. You've used all your time limit.
We'll see you episode 13, buddy.
That's 3 episodes from now.
You might fire us by then.
That's true, too. All right, so let's move into the Steelers heading into the Jaguars. They probably need this game. They need a little pick-me-up after losing to Tampa Bay, which I equated to the Jaguars last week on our show. So hopefully this will be a nice little stab in the arm.
Pittsburgh laying 7 on the road. Jacksonville at home. Jacksonville was on the road last week, played a good Chargers team. Pittsburgh, after that terrible letdown, you would almost think that they're going to come and just completely destroy the Jaguars on the road. I think everybody's going to pound Pittsburgh. The public's definitely going to jump on Pittsburgh. I'm taking Jacksonville.
Oh, wow.
I think Jacksonville puts a dagger right in Mike Tomlin. I think Blake Bortles looks good this game. My guy I liked coming out, Allen Robinson, didn't have a great game last week. Allen Robinson has a big week, has 100 yards, at least 1 touchdown. Jacksonville beats the Steelers, shocks them. I'm taking the dog. Give me the 6.5, 7 points. Give me Jacksonville.
Wow. I hope that's what happens just for death pool purposes because so many people are going to jump on Pittsburgh in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Coming off that loss against Jaguars. Oh, man. All right. Well, we're talking about the spread, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about the spread.
Trying to beat the bookie.
Trying to beat that bookie. Man. Ah, man. I'm going to go with the Steelers. Got to go with the Steelers.
Not a bad pick.
It's the logical pick. I like your pick, though. If you made the Steelers pick, I might have gone Jaguars, just so you know.
That'd have been a good pick, too. That'd have been a great pick.
This game that's coming up, this should be a hell of a game with the Cardinals going into Denver. I'm very excited for this. Great defense versus great offense.
Cardinals going into Denver. Both teams coming off a bye week, which is, you get a 4-0 team and a 3-1 team, or 2-1 and 3-0 team, whatever.
You gave a win to their bye weeks.
Yeah, give them a win.
You get a win.
So you got the Cardinals coming into Denver. Right now, it started at 8.5. Denver's laying 7.5. I mean, this is such a toss-up. It seems like a lot of people will jump on Arizona just getting over a touchdown. I think Peyton Manning's. I think this is the game. I picked him on my top performers. I think this is the game Demaryius Thomas comes out, has a huge game. I hate to go against a Bruce Arians team getting a touchdown because they play tough. They'll play to the end. But I think Denver wins by 13. I think it's like a 27-14 type game. Is that 13? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Denver. I'm going to lay the 7.5. If you can buy that half point, buy it. I like Denver.
Okay. I was actually going to take Denver as well in that. Although Cardinals are a great team, I do feel like Peyton Manning is a great quarterback and coach and offensive coordinator and all around just great football player.
Yeah, GM. Vice president.
If you could set him up with simply robots, he'd beat every team ever.
Yeah, he's the best I've ever seen.
He is. All right, Chiefs heading into San Francisco to face the 49ers. Both teams recently coming off of a win. Chiefs coming off of quite a win.
Yeah, San Francisco at home. Obviously, Chiefs on the road. The line started off, San Francisco laying 5. It looks like it's moved up to 6.5. Looks like a lot of people were pounding the 49ers. I'm not going to buy into it. 49ers still have to prove to me that they're going to stick to the run. Kansas City, I don't think was a one-hit wonder. I think Andy Reid's not. I mean, one game. I don't. They're 2-2. They know they need to win to keep up with that division, with the Chargers looking good and Denver looking good. Andy Reid's not going to let them just be happy with that win. He's going to have the guys ready to play. I'm going to say Kansas City wins that game outright. I'm going to take Kansas City getting the 6.5, but I think we'll win the game outright, maybe by a field goal.
Better coached, more cohesive, more well-respected, I think, by their players. I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. I think the Chiefs have found a stride. They're going to take it on into San Francisco.
I like it.
So, Jets heading into San Diego.
7, line 7, 6.5, 7. I think everybody's going to jump on the Chargers. Chargers did work at home against a bad Jaguars team. The Jets got beat by 7 against the Lions. I think the Jets are actually going to contain them a little bit. They're going to contain the running game or lack thereof of the Chargers. I think the Jets are going to lose this ball game, but I think it's going to be right around a 6-point ball game. Give me the Jets getting the 6.5, 7 points. I'll take the dog in this game.
All right. I'm going to roll with the Chargers in this one. I think they've hit a stride as well. Keenan Allen showed up last week, made some big plays. Very important part of that wide receiving core right there. And Rivers is hitting a stride as a quarterback. I mean, I'm very impressed by what he's been doing this season. So I'm heading with the Chargers on that one.
Okay.
Bengals heading into the Patriots. Again, you asked me about this at the beginning of the season. I would have told you immediately the Patriots were going to win this game. But is that just the lore of Tom Brady?
Second primetime game in a row. Patriots at home. It's essentially a pick'em game. Bengals coming off a bye week. Undefeated. Patriots are 2-2, fighting for the division lead, coming off a throttling on a primetime game. I don't think you're going to see that happen again. I think there's going to be a lot of heads rolling this week at practice in New England. New England wins this ball game. I'm going to take New England to win and essentially a pick'em game.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Patriots.
I just want to tell all you gentlemen here, you will never see me madder than you're seeing me now in this very moment. I'm steaming, absolutely steaming by your loss. I'm disappointed by your performance, and I would hope that you're going to have a better performance against Cincinnati. I'm going with the Patriots in this.
Well put.
My Bill Belichick. All right.
Just to tell everybody.
I have to every time because I'm not sure if it's good. Frank Caliendo can do them, and you know exactly who he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, I'm sorry, I have to explain my puns, and I've got to say who I'm doing impressions of. All right, final game, Monday night. Wow, going from Thursday prime time to Monday prime time, getting the hell beat out of them on Thursday, and everyone expecting the same to happen Monday. What do you think is going to happen when the Seattle Seahawks come into Washington, D.C. to versus the Washington Redskins?
Was that anybody in particular?
No, that was just me getting excited
right.
and nervous.
Washington's at home, primetime game, getting 7 against Seattle. Seattle's coming in off a bye week. Seattle's had 2 weeks to prep for this game. Washington's coming in off a tail whipping against a division foe. I mean, I hate to do this because I think it's going to be a close game, but I just think Seattle pulls away late. They just have too much. It's a veteran head coach against a first-year head coach. It's a veteran solid defense against essentially a new starter. Not going to say rookie, but I'm going to put him in that new starter category because he hasn't had a lot of starts under his belt.
Talking about Breland?
No, Cousins.
Sorry, yeah,
Breland.
sorry. I thought we were comparing defenses. I'm sorry, you're comparing defense offense.
Yeah, I'm switching it up.
My bad. I won't talk again.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to take Seattle. I think it's going to be I don't know, the line stayed pat at 7, but I'm going to take Seattle to cover the 7. Give me the chalk.
Give me the Skins. Give me the Skins. I think they're going to come back, and they're going to have to make up for what happened last week. And you know what? Maybe this will motivate them. Maybe a loss like that will have them come back and face the Seahawks with everything they have, and you'd be very surprised at what's going to happen. And then they'll go right into Arizona. I think they go to Arizona for that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And they take those birds down. It's just going to be 2 birds with 1 Kirk Cousins.
2 birds with 1 cat.
Boom! Another pun, kind of. I don't know.
If our producer listened to the show, he would have heard you.
Yeah. It's okay.
Nothing.
It's all right. All right, guys. Well, that's,
the soccer. I mean the hockey news.
oh yeah,
that,
tell me.
Well, I'm gonna let y'all know.
What?
Hockey season is coming up. That's it.
That it?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, hey, there you go, Kevin. Enjoy the season. Very excited for you.
That's all I got. Hockey season's coming up.
Well, that's
you heard
all-
it here first.
That's all that Chad has. That's all that I have, and that's it for us. So we want to thank you for watching / listening, and thank you, Matt, for running the equipment today and keeping us on task. We're just kidding. We'll give you some 30-minute bonus conversation points for next week if you want to have a conversation with us. So anyway,
Thanks.
you're welcome. With that, please check out www.threefrostedmugs.com. There you can find our Fantasy Focus and our Three Frosted Mugs episodes, as well as enter your Pick 3 Plus for weekly prizes and a chance at the grand prize at the end of the season. And of course, a big thank you once again to AJ Studios for the post-production and graphics work.
Amanda G.
And until next time, may all your parlay dreams come true.
And teasers.